Welcome back to Spanker Ranch Garage. Tonight's project's on my beloved 1986 Chevy K5 Blazer. It's got a small block 305 in it that makes no horsepower, and it's got a 700R4 automatic behind it. I've been driving this thing for about 2 years, over 10,000 miles with a slipping second gear and no overdrive. I was going to rebuild or put a different automatic in this thing. Decided I'm going to put a stick shift in it. This is my only automatic vehicle. Every automatic vehicle I've ever had has transmission problems, probably because most of the stuff I have is junk. So this isn't going to be an anti-automatic video, but I got to put a stick shift in this thing too because I need this truck to run and drive. So follow along, we'll see how I get it done. Going over the parts list here of what I picked up. This is an Nv3500 trans off a small block Chevy. It's from a 1998 Silverado. This should bolt up to the 86 305 in that, no problem. It's got a 6-bolt round pattern on the back for the transfer case. These came with a 241 transfer case that drops on the driver's side. That won't work in this truck because the pumpkin's on the other side. So this is a 208 transfer case out of like a, I don't know, say like an 86 1-ton Chevy pickup. It's got the right input splines to fit this transmission, but the driver's or the drop is on the correct side to fit that truck. So this is exactly the same transfer case that's in the truck, but it's got a different input shaft. If I notch one of the holes on here, this will bolt right on, be perfect. I'll show you how to do that. Anyway, factory shift boot, factory shifter, factory slave cylinder, flywheel, pressure plate, and clutch off a 98 small block Chevy should bolt right up to this one. And the trickiest part is going to be the clutch pedal. I did not buy a clutch pedal for one of these trucks because they're like 350 bucks for a hydraulic one. So we are going to cut up some other pedals and make something work. This is out of a Chevy pickup. I got a brake pedal out of a Jeep over there. We'll make something happen. And then finally, this is a slave cylinder out of a hydraulic 1-ton truck of this body style. So for everything you see here, I paid 300 bucks. So I think this is going to be everything I need, minus some hardware and some bolts. Hopefully I get to reuse the drive shafts and all the wires will plug in, and we'll see if we can make it happen. So here's what you're looking at after you pull that out. And it's very hard to see all this crap in the way. GM pre-dimpled the firewall for the clutch master cylinder. So let me see if there's a way I can show that. I'm not having any luck showing you from the inside, but from the outside, GM pre-dimpled the firewall for the master cylinder. So let's see if you can see it when I turn the light away a little bit. You see those two white dots and the big hole on the left? Well, the dimples go in towards the cab of the truck, so I scraped off the insulation and then took a paint marker and marked them. I'm going to drill them from here. This big hole on the left down here is where the snowplow company drilled a hole through the firewall to run the snowplow harness, and they literally drilled it right through one of the clutch mounting holes. So now I got a bigger project on my hands. I need to patch the firewall before I re-drill it, so that sucks. Spare tire jack. All right, nice long drill bit. You get right in there. Just pull the spare tire jack out. You don't have to take the window motor off, or the wiper motor, I mean. It's very annoying that I even had to do that, but you can see I've got the first hole drilled up here and the main hole, and then I plugged where the plow people drilled in the firewall. They never considered to 5-speed swap this thing. Very selfish of them. So now I'm going to determine where my final hole lands. Just like that, little dab of paint. She looks like it intended from the factory. So I'll throw this in, just take a tack weld and zip the head of these bolts. That way I can just put nuts on these from the inside, not worry about having somebody under the hood. Alright, so I'm essentially rebushing this pedal. I'm putting a piece of DOM tubing in here. It's got the right ID for the Blazer pivot bolt. And this thing's gonna hang off the side of the factory automatic pedal bracket. I did this in my Jeep, it worked well, so I'm gonna do it on this truck too. The automatic brake pedal hangs here and there's a nut. I'm gonna extend this by 4 inches, 5 inches, whatever. It's gonna shoot all the way through the bracket, and then this pedal is going to hang off the side of the bracket. All right, so that's the rough bushing setup there. I chop sueyed this pedal all up here. You'll see I got gaps everywhere, and I'm just gonna weld those back together. But the pedal is now exactly the same length as a factory brake pedal. The spacing looks great. I guess I'll move the pad over. I don't know, maybe I'll let me trim the factory pedal first and see what the spacing looks like. All trimmed up, that's how she sits. So that ain't gonna get touched, that's perfect. All right, pedal's all finished up, looks super factory. I had some second thoughts about this before I welded it up. I wanted to actually bring it a little higher than the brake pedal. I've seen that in older trucks. I think just having additional travel will not hurt me. So hopefully it's comfortable, but I think the placement left to right and all that looks absolutely perfect. So pretty excited about that. Please don't make a mess. All right. Oh, shoot. Woo, Yahtzee. All right. As far forward as that'll go. What is the length difference between a 98 Nv3500 and an 86 700R4? Flange to flange, the 700R4 comes in at just about 27 1/4. The Nv3500 is 27 1/4. I'm running the same transfer case on the back of both of these. Should have absolutely no problem with drive shafts, none of that. It should all be 100% bolt in. Really happy to hear that. Now let's check the mounting location and see if the subframe's gonna work. So bell housing to mounting point is 25 inches. And 25 inches. So this is a direct replacement to the 700R4 dimensionally. It's funny because this never came in these trucks, and the 4-speed did, and the 4-speed is drastically different dimensions. So this will actually fit better than the stick shift trans that was intended to be in this truck. Now, one thing I will note is the shifter location is quite a bit different. So The shifter is between 14 and 18 inches off the bell housing flange. On like the 4-speed 465, it's like, 10 to 12 inches. It's like up here. It's a much shorter trans. So you'll see the shifters in the old trucks come out under the dash and up, hoping that this shifter will land in a pretty respectable spot. So we'll just have to see once I get it in there. One notable here is look how small the output shaft is on the automatic. Then you notice it's substantially larger on the 5-speed. This is like 20-something, 27 spline or whatever, and this is 31 spline. So you'll see this on the bigger Chevy automatics, like a Turbo 350 or a 400, and also every stick trans. So the 465, the Nv3500, Nv3500, maybe even a ZF6. So that's why I had to change the transfer case input shaft to fit this. You also notice the length of it is different. This one is actually protruding slightly where it's recessed on the automatic trans. So we'll have to throw the transfer case on and see if that's gonna all fit. Yeah, baby. Drops right on. No gap, so it seems to be happy. That is the transfer case ensemble. The passenger side drop. Chevy square body. Don't use flex plate bolts, get proper stick bolts. These are like $4 from Dorman for a set of new flywheel bolts. All right, that looks good in there. Look at this glide. So the slave cylinder uses some proprietary GM quick release type deal. Not a fan of these. Had issues with them. But anyway, get these. Get these on Summit for like $10 for a pair of them. They are just like an O-ring pin seat, just like factory, except they bring you out to a -3 line. I use these on everything. If you see my Jeep video, I use them on the Jeep. I use them on my Beretta. I use them on pickup trucks. Pretty much any GM product this will work for. All right, so now you got a proprietary slave cylinder that comes out to something we can work with. We'll make a line for this. Okay, so just made up this line. It's probably 2 feet long, -3 female on both sides. This is gonna get us out of the transmission and up towards the firewall, and then it'll be hard line from there to the master. Had to turn the camera off and grab a beer break. I was getting a little frustrated, almost said some bad words. She's seated now. That was a little bit of a struggle. Man, that fits really like it's meant to be. Didn't even have to slot the holes. It just drops right in. Here's what it looks like. Shifter position looks really nice. This is a factory boot for like a 96 to 06 truck. I like it, but it is a big boot and it's going to interfere with this console. So I may trim this like this, then I lose my indicator. I may try to find a smaller boot. I'm not exactly sure how to make this look OEM yet, but the factory transfer case does move properly. No interference there. So once I get a steering wheel in here, we'll see kind of how the shifter feels, but honestly, that looks pretty damn nice. Here's what I came up with. Real square body fans will know that, you know, it's not authentic and factory and OEM, but the unsuspecting eye may assume it came that way. I'm happy with it. I did end up losing the light that lights the indicator to show you what range you're in, but small price to pay. This adapter for the clutch master cylinder. This is some bastard 12 millimeter by 1.0 bubble flare. I actually had to go to the store to get this fitting. I've got a good selection of fittings. Did not have that one. Didn't expect it on an old GM. But anyway, chute steered, normal fitting to my -3. So this will hook up to the stainless line. run right down to the trans. So you can see my stainless line going in the bottom there, and out the top is the bleeder, which dribbles inside the bell housing. So I leave my socket on it, and it kind of gives it a little tube to run out. Got the power bleeder up top, 10 pounds on it. We'll let this dribble for a little bit and seal her off, and clutch should be bled, that simply. Before I put this transfer case in, wanted to make sure I got the right speedometer gear in here. It actually came with a 35 tooth, which is better for the axle ratio and tires that I run. I had a blue one in the last transfer case. It was actually reading slow. So mathematically it comes out 34.9 teeth for this ratio. 35 tooth will be good enough for me. So all right, so for the most part, we're buttoned up under here. Transfer case, the whole deal, speedo cable, yada, yada, yada. I need a new U-joint for my front drive shaft, so that will stay out for now, but that's pretty well it. I'm gonna make a couple miscellaneous exhaust repairs. We'll drop it down and get the interior wrapped up and test this bad boy out. Final stretch here, pulled the, what do they call that thing? The TV cable or whatever for the 700R4. It's not really a kick down, but it changes the line pressure, that kind of crap. Got rid of that, pulled the lines and capped them off the rad here, trans-cooler lines. Finished wrapping up the steering column. All this crap's all mounted all nice. Here's the finished product. Looks very factory. I got pedal covers from Dorman. Make those match. Looks like it's meant to be. Shifter's in there with its boot. All custom fit to the four-wheel drive shifter thing. All right, so that wraps up the Nv3500 swap in my square body 1986 Chevy K5 Blazer. Overall, I'm really stoked on this. So shifter position is perfect. I could not ask for better shifter position. Feels great. Didn't have to modify anything there. My clutch pedal is working excellent. Looks nice and factory, works well. I did have to cut up this a little bit, so I don't have a light in here. It tells me what gear I'm in anymore, but you know, drive these trucks long enough, you know what you're doing. 4 high, 4 low, all that works as factory. So overall, the swap ended up costing me just about $400 in parts. Labor wasn't too bad. I am going to sell the factory transfer case and the factory transmission and probably recoup most of my $400 that I have into this. So while, yeah, I could have rebuilt the automatic, it would have cost me more money than just changing it out for a stick shift. So this makes me feel a lot better from a reliability standpoint. I've had very good luck with these transmissions. They do great. Overall, I'm just super stoked at this. It uses stock drive shafts. It uses a factory transfer case. You don't have to play with any of the linkages. It's really a nice swap. I do wish I could find a manual steering column. I don't have one of those, so I do have a little nub here still from the where the shifter used to be, but really that's some of the only evidence you have here that this truck used to be automatic. So, you know, it's still got a carbureted 305 in it with a quadrajet. Kind of runs like crap. That's going to go out the window. I'm going to put a 5.3 in this, but for now I just wanted a reliable transmission because I still do want to daily this truck until I swap it. The only thing I did not finish on the swap is the reverse lights. So the Nv3500 has a switch on the side of the trans down there. Uses the same plug as like a T56 does, so I need to order a pigtail for that. From the factory, this 86 has the reverse switch on the steering column down by the firewall. Used to be attached to the shift linkage, so I need to run the wires from there all the way down to the trans, but it's just a make or break circuit. Should be very easy to tie in, and then I'll have reverse lights. But thanks for watching Spank Ranch Garage. We'll see you next time.